Welcome, everybody, to the San Antonio Realty Pros podcast. I really hope you guys enjoy this upcoming episode. We intend to bring you guys the best real estate content possible, and you never know, you might learn a thing or two. So sit back and enjoy the show. But no, I just wanted to bring everybody in, and I'm glad that we were able to get together because this podcast is really geared around. I think Mark was asking me a minute ago, like, what's his target audience, or what's our target audience? Mm-hmm. And so I really have like a double target, right? So it's like most of our content really goes out to home buyers and sellers, or property owners or investors, right? So, but there's also a lot of information in there for agents that may not, or maybe new or whatever the case may be, because like, for instance, one of our episodes was all about how to win in a multiple offer situation. Well, that's good information for the home buyer, to know, but it's also, it might be something in there that we threw in that an agent has never used before. So it's something that they can use. But I want to welcome Ashley Pena and Mark Longoria.
Hey.
They're both ExP agents out here in the San Antonio market. So Mark and Ashley and Kristen couldn't be with us today. Shout out Kristen Sanglambini.
Yes.
It's such a hard name to pronounce.
Sanglambini.
Yeah.
You gotta move your hands.
Sanglambini. Fingers together. Like it's a toast. But so she couldn't be here. She's got a closing and stuff like that. But we all took the GRI class together, and so we really had a good time. I think it's important for agents in the market to not work against each other. Because at the end of the day, as many agents that there are in the San Antonio area, you're going to end up doing business with about half of them probably at some point in your life because, or in your career, because they have a saying that 20% of the agents do 80% of the business or something. Mm-hmm. Right. I don't know what the numbers are. But, so you'll end up working with these people. So if you make somebody mad, or if you treat them bad, or if you are really shady, like I have a couple that I will refuse. I will tell my sellers, like, hey, look, this guy, I worked with him before. I don't recommend him. Mm-hmm. It's because I just don't like the way that they do business. I think they did some shady stuff. So, but I'll leave it up to the client to make sure that they want to take the offer now. If it's a strong enough offer,
you never know.
Yeah. So.
I think the good news is that most agents are willing to work towards the end goal of getting our clients to be happy in either the purchase or the sale of their home. There are a few like that, unfortunately, but I think they're not as many as the rest of us that are like-minded, and we're really working to represent our clients, trying to negotiate everything to get to the closing so that all parties are happy.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have that finish line that we have to get to, and we are by nature as real estate agents problem solvers, right? So we just want to make sure that we solve all the problems. There's going to be problems.
Right. There's going to be problems.
What do you think about that, Ashley?
There's going to be problems. Every transaction has some sort of issue. I feel that recently, I'm going to take these off. I feel that recently, even I've had the smoothest of transactions, absolutely smooth from start up until you get, close to closing. And then right at that closing, something comes up, something's happened. And unfortunately, that's when things do emerge at the very, you're blindsided. And, usually we expect those things at the very beginning, option, repairs usually. Yeah.
Well, that's the easy part, it seems like, because we expect those certain amounts of, it's the reason for the option, right? We are expecting to back out. Right. That's the reason why we get the client to buy that option period and make sure that they pay for that up front, because we don't know what's going on structurally with that property. It might look amazing on the outside. You go inside, you open the attic space, and there's the rafters and trusses are all bowed up, and there's not enough insulation. It might be rats or something, or there might be evidence of rodents or animals living in the attic. And guess what? It'll shut a whole deal down because the wife's like, hey, I ain't dealing with that. The husband might be completely okay with it. But I think the biggest issue that we run into at the end of the deals is because of the way that these lender companies work and the timelines and the suspense dates for these appraisals, right? So that's really where we get our biggest hang up.
The appraisals.
And I think what a lot of buyers don't understand, and maybe maybe this will help some people understand, when you get a pre-approval for a loan, unless it's fully conditionally, like manually underwritten, or if it's fully underwritten, when you go to put that offer in, that that pre-approval or that pre-qualification letter, it's about as worthless as the paper it's on. I mean, it says, hey, we've looked at these numbers, their debt to income, it looks good, but anything can change in 30 days, right? So what happens is we get into this bottleneck at the end of the 30 days, or close to the end of it, and that last week or week and a half before, and now this mortgage company has been sitting over here, and rightly so. I mean, I would guess that a mortgage company is they've been doing this forever, right? They wouldn't be a mortgage company if they hadn't had some inkling of what they're doing, but they kind of hold off until that last few days to run all these documents back through one more time to make sure nothing's changed, credit history, make sure the husband or wife hasn't gone out and signed for a co-sign on a loan or ran the credit card out of the window. And so at this point, now we're running into a crunch time, number one, but we're also, if something changes or if they've waited just too long and they're too busy, the stuff falls between the cracks, and it happens a lot. It happens too much, actually.
It does. I mean, even, like I have clients, they want to purchase their home, but they're waiting on the buyers to purchase the home they're currently in. And, we're all at the mercy of that lender,
Those are the toughest deals that I think I've ever done. Is the ones I had one that was a 3-stringer. This is crazy, right? So
gosh.
I had a listing with a client, and they had already, luckily on this part, they had already qualified for the other property. They had a VA loan. They could qualify for both houses, so they weren't really in a hurry to get out. So I listed their property. I found a lady that lived down the street that wanted to buy the house, and she says, here's the deal, though. I got to sell my house. So I'm like, okay, well, we've got a little bit of time. I need to get yours listed on the market really quick, and we need to price it aggressively and all this other stuff, right? So I have this one listed. We get her house listed. The original listing hadn't went live in the MLS yet. We were just cleaning and doing some touch-up paints and stuff, so it hadn't really gone on market. I apologize for that. Look at that. That shouldn't have. Oh, it's on. It's not on silent. Anyway, so I got her house listed, and we had offers in 24 hours, and we had it under contract, and we actually strung this whole thing together to where she was able to make an offer before the house was really hit the market. Hers was already under contract, and that's a big juggling act because, I mean, I'm going to lose out on helping her sell her home and purchase this one, so I'm potentially, and at the end of the day, losing out on two deals for myself. But you have to think with the mind of a helper, right? And you want to coach them through this whole process, and it wouldn't have really mattered regardless. I felt a huge weight on my shoulders because I'm like, her whole thing is happening in my hands right here, and if I lose this deal or something happens, she's going to be upset because she wasn't able to, buy the house that she really wanted. Now I've got the sellers that I've got to relist and do the whole thing.
Yeah, with just one transaction alone, you've got so many moving parts. Yeah. You've got so many different contracts and amendments and addendum. And then you've got so many different people you're communicating with, and the timeline can always be pushed back, but everyone's got to be in agreement. And so, circling back to what you said at the beginning about working with great real estate agents, it's great to work with not only the agents, but the agents that are also explaining to the clients, hey, look, things may happen, and there's a good chance something may happen. So just be aware of it, be ready for it, and let's just be as fluid as possible so that we can finally, if it takes an additional week or 2 weeks to get to where we need to, it may be inconvenient, it may be not what you like, but we're going to get there, and we're going to get there together. If everybody just works together towards that common goal.
Yeah, you definitely need to set the expectation early, because I feel like everybody would look at it like, man, buying a house is really stressful, and they don't realize that, yes, that's true, but there's also so much on the back end that they don't even see what's going on. We're giving them, as an agent to a client, we're giving them as many updates as we can, but we're not the only ones that are in the process. We have so many other third parties. Yeah. And if the other agent on the other side is not very friendly or doing, ethical business and staying super communicative, it's a bad deal all the way around, because now I'm hunting for information from them, and then I'm gonna make them angry because I'm gonna bug the heck out of them. Yeah. And then they get a little irritated with me, which happens. Ashley, has that ever happened to you?
Nope, never. It's never happened to me.
But I mean, a lot of people David, my business partner, killer agent, right? So he's amazing. He is so communicative, he's like over communicative.
That's awesome.
But it's the
That's
military
great,
in him, right? And so and so I try to do emulate everything after him, and I learned a lot of my stuff from him because he got in before I did, and that's what kind of makes him and I work together so well as a partnership. Is like he has a lot of strong talents in the communication and contracts and writing things and stuff like that, and making it all the business parts of it, right? And then I'm really good with people, and I'm really good with technology. So we kind of are the yin yang type deal.
Help each other out.
No homo. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, good. All right.
But anyway, but yeah, no. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. But anyway, so we kind of work together like that, and what we do when we bring agents on to the brokerage is we try to make sure that those people that we bring on, we're not just hunting for agents. We're not,
Right.
we don't just bring any agents on and try to fill up the roster, because it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because it's all about the quality of the agent and do they fit with our mindset. And if they don't, that's fine. Then they can. There's a million brokerages out there, right, that they can just fit right into.
Right.
And so yeah, I mean, I think working with your local agents and making sure that you guys are doing the best you can. You obviously can't really network right now because of all the stuff that's going on.
Right.
But I mean, it seems like everybody's doing pretty well this year. I mean, I'm kind of terrified of what's going to happen next year, because all this massive growth, it's just like the stock market. What goes up must come down at some point. I'm not saying drop off off the cliff, but there is going to be some restructuring happening.
Yeah, it's bound to happen. The market, you have your ebbs and flows. It's always going to be changing.
Because once these interest rates kind of climb back up again, what I see right now is we're having super low interest rates that are impacting the market, getting people into homes and into the buying market where they could not buy before. Or you got the opposite side of the track where you've got somebody that could buy a $200,000 house last year, but now they can buy a $250,000 house because their interest rates are so much lower. So their budget is the same, but they can buy more house. They get more buying power. So what I'm seeing a lot of right now is I'm like, oh, these people, hopefully everyone can stay on the same course with their jobs, and they make sure that, but they're going to buy more house. Mm-hmm. But once this starts to come back down, I think we're up over 12% or something like that from last year's median home sales price. I have to look at the numbers again.
So sales price is the other thing that I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of increase in home prices, values. I feel like home values are
demand,
going up.
When the supply goes down, right?
Right, yeah, it'll change. You mentioned appraisals a little while ago, and I'm actually very surprised how well the appraisals are. Yeah. Because as you know, we have a lot of buyers, and a lot of times these homes go into multiple offer situations. And so these homes are selling for, $5,000, $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 above the asking price. Yeah. And as a listing agent, you're cringing thinking, oh my God, is this going to actually appraise?
Right.
And much to my surprise, even $15,000 above asking price, they're appraising. So, the home values are really going through the roof right now, which is good, but there's got to be a turn somewhere in the market.
A level of sustainability, right? Yeah. So it's like, man, do you really want to just ride it and go with it, or do you kind of want to be like, hey, man, I want to calm it down a little bit? Yeah. I mean, I love growth. I don't want the numbers of inflation to get out of control, though, at the same time, because if it does, we're going to have a problem.
Well, I think we need to seize the moment, because we don't know how long we're going to be living in this moment in this season. So,
absolutely,
if there's a seller out there, someone that's even thought about selling, now's the time to do it, because there's a lot of buyers, interest rates low, homes continue to go up in their value, and so again, we don't know. They might be ready 6 months from now, and the market could be totally different.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it could literally, and pay attention to this for all the buyers and stuff out there, that pay attention to what's going on with the process running up to the election time, and then after the election. I mean, it could literally be the day after the election, whatever the results may be. You pick your side, but whatever. Watch what happens to the Fed and the rates. And that's going to impact everything else down the line. Because contrary to popular belief, that when the Fed says, hey, our rates are at 0% or we're trading in the negative percent range, That doesn't mean that the mortgage rates are going to be in the negatives, right, or in the 0%. It's never going to happen. It does influence the mortgage market, but it doesn't like directly impact it.
Right.
So it's something that you want to get with the lender and find out what their take is on it, because I'm not a mortgage lender.
And get with them early too.
Yeah.
Be ahead of the game. Be ahead of your numbers.
I had so many people wanting to go look at houses right now. I guess because the market's on fire, right? But they're not even ready to buy yet. And I'm like, come on, guys, do us a favor. Number one, here's a really quick rant. When I first got into the real estate game, right, I was like, oh, I'm going to show buyers houses even if they're not approved. I don't care if they're approved or not. I'm like, well, you know what? I've wasted a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I've lost a lot of buyers because they didn't qualify. And it wasn't that they weren't good people. And it's just a lot of stuff going on in their life that they just didn't know that they weren't ready. They thought they were ready.
Yeah.
They thought they wanted a $300,000 house, but they wanted a $1,400 a month payment. And guess what, guys? The math don't add up.
It didn't work out. Yeah.
No, because you're not going to get a $300,000 house with a $1,400 payment unless you got a lot of money to put down.
Correct.
Depending on the rate, and there's a lot of factors involved. So, I've found more and more that I want to coach those types of buyers.
Yeah.
And try to put them on the path to success without, I don't know what you would call it. I don't want to call them out and say, hey, look, you guys don't really know what's going on, but here's the deal. But you really need to get those clients and stay in contact with them, because they're motivated to buy, but put them on the right path, get them with a lender, give them a couple choices. I think that's something that most people...
I just had that conversation 2 days ago with a buyer, and they're not ready. But I said, and they didn't really want to talk to a lender right now. And I said, listen, it's important that you sit down with a lender. It's not going to cost you anything but time. Just a few minutes to sit down, talk to a lender, even if it's over the phone. But get a plan together. Because they had like 3 or 4 different strategies. They're like, which one should we do? It's like, you need to sit down with a lender, because they can look at they can look at the numbers. They can tell you, well, this is not going to work because of this, or this will work, but you've got to do this A, B, and C first.
Right.
It may take 6 months to get there, but at least you have a plan. So
they need direction, and then the lenders have the simulators that can really provide them specific scenarios if they were to pay this down, or if they were to get their credit score up. And then sometimes they need something a little bit more aggressive, like credit repair, and so the lender can advise them and can give them some sources.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest misconception a lot of times is like, oh, if I talk to a lender, they're going to pull my credit, and then it's going to hurt my credit score. I'm like, look, here's number one rule of thought for me. This is my personal belief, but if you're scared about your credit score being so close on the line that if you're going to get it pulled, it's going to damage it enough to where you can't buy a home, you're not ready.
Yeah,
and that may be like a strong statement, but at the same time, it's the truth. In my opinion, that's the truth. Like, if you have a score that's right on the borderline, okay, depending on what your income is and your debt-to-income ratio, but if your score is low, then you need to make sure that you get on the right path to increase the score, because that's just going to help you out with interest rate later.
And I would say for all the more reason to go sit down with the lenders.
Right.
You know what? I think I'm barely going to make it, or I don't think I qualify. But why don't you pull my credit so you can look at it, tell me, advise me, give me some instruction like what I should do in the next few months to get to that point where I can actually increase my credit score.
Yeah, because you can go to like, I know it's 30 days behind or 15 to 30 days sometimes behind, but Credit Karma is a free thing you can download. You can take that to the lender, print it off, take it to the lender, or pull it up right in their office. Say, hey, look, here's my score. Can you lay my stuff out and let me know where I'm at?
Right.
And you can go to freecreditreport.com. It's not going to impact your score. Your scores actually might be higher or lower.
Correct.
At the time that they actually pull it. But when you look at those scores, it's very close. Unless you just paid off. Here's the other problem. I paid off an ATV loan the other day. And I had pretty decent credit. And I paid a loan off that was a debt that I was paying each month. And it had a higher balance, right? I pay it all the way off.
And you think that's a great thing.
You think that'd be great, right?
You think that would be great.
Nope. I'll drop 20 points.
Wow.
20 on one report and then 14 on the other.
Yeah.
And tell me how that makes any sense. So if you don't act before you ask. So you need to make sure you get with these lenders and get some coaching and just make sure you're making the right decisions, because I know this is kind of getting into a friggin' credit report coaching lesson, but at the same time, that is the most important factor of buying a home is you have to know where you stand. You got to know what your max budget is. You don't need to be looking at houses in the 300s or 350s if you don't know what your budget is, because it has to make sense. Like if I'm searching for clients and they want to buy a house in the 250s, now I might search up into the 260s just so I get past that 250 point. So I might have something at 253 that they didn't see.
Correct.
So I'll do that. And even if we find something at 260, I might be able to do a little negotiating, finagling, whatever. Just depends on the situation. So, but they would never know what their price range is until they get with the lender.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, unless you already come to me fully underwritten and approved, like, and you're just ready to go with like a hot check in your hand, make sure you get in touch with them, because I think that slows up a lot of like our progress. And in a season like right now, when it's so busy, we might be juggling 5 or 6 people at the one time.
Right.
And it's going to help your agent out so much if you already have a little bit of inclination of what the process is. And so, like I showed a house yesterday, some awesome buyers. I've been working with them for a long time. Well, their pre-approval's already expired, and they were like, we don't know what we're going to do. And I'm like, well, that's not a problem. If nothing's really changed since you got the approval, they're only good for about 60 days sometimes. But I've been working with them for a long time, and they haven't seen enough houses to know what they want. And I understand that because there's a lot of stuff going on.
Right.
There's a million different types of houses out there. So they know the square footage that they want to be in. And so I just told them they didn't know what to do next. They didn't want to go back to the lender because they thought they would have to reapply. I was like, no, it's just a pre-approval.
Right.
Unless they manually, like I said again, manually underwrite the loan.
Right.
It's just a pre-approval. They're just looking at the stuff, and it's not going to hurt your credit every time you go back and get another letter. If you're not ready, you're not ready.
Right.
Right.
So,
and then if you're not ready, then have a strategy to get ready.
Yeah, you need to have a path.
I think we all appreciate as realtors, we appreciate working with agents. I'm sorry, with clients that have already gone through the pre-qualification process.
Mm-hmm.
So, for the buyers that are out there that are looking to get to that point, as we said, talk to a lender. But it's not just the credit rating, but also your debt to income ratio.
Yeah.
How much debt do you have? How much income do you have? Can you provide that proof to be able to get to that point? Because it's so important. I'll go out. I'll show if I see someone for the first time and they want to go out and show homes, see some homes. I'll go out and show them homes, but at the same time, I'll educate them and say, okay, look, before we move any further in looking at more homes, let's get you this application. Let's get you pre-qualified. Because if you see a home tomorrow that you like, you can't really put you can put an offer on it, but it's the other agent's not going to take it serious because you're not pre-qualified.
Right.
So it's going to be a waste of your time as well as mine, as well as the other agent. So let's just do it right from the beginning. Let's get you pre-qualified.
Yeah.
Then when we go out there, you see a house, you fall in love with it immediately. We submit an offer. It also has a pre-qualification with that offer, and it's just going to make things so much smoother from the get-go, rather than having to go through the whole process of, well, here's my offer, but wait, let me try to go get pre-qualified, and it just doesn't work out as smoothly. So while you're trying to get your, everything in place, another offer comes in from somebody else, and your house is gone.
Yes. Then you're doing backpedaling. You don't want to do that. You don't want to get caught behind.
Yep.
Well, the speed, like I said, the speed of the market, you really just can't drag your feet. Now, if you're ready to go and you find the one that you don't, you can sleep on it overnight if you want to, but that's what the option period is for.
No way. Sometimes you barely have enough time to even write up a contract between the time of the showing and the time they're making a decision. So there's no time for a pre-qual.
It happens so fast right now. A lot of times, if the house looks good, if it's the price is right, 2-3 days max on the market, and it's gone.
Yeah.
So multiple offers is something that we're seeing right now that's very, very common. And if your buyer or you as a buyer, you're not ready, then there's just no chance. I've been probably my last 3 homes that my buyers have made an offer on have all been multiple offers. So from 5 to up to 12 offers. Yeah. In like 2 days. 2 days on the market. Boom, 12 offers.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And I think a lot of it is, like I said before, is these amazing interest rates, and these people, they're just like, hey, look, people are either refining right now, super low rates, which I just did, or they're like, hey, we're selling our house, we're going to finally buy that house that was just one level up from what we wanted, or they're downsizing, they're like, man, we just need to move really quick, and they're not dragging their feet. They're just throwing offers out, and that's something that you didn't see last year. And I think it's interesting to see how quickly, and in the middle of a pandemic, like in the middle of
right.
I mean, who would have ever thought
Serious.
that?
At first, when all of this started happening and COVID started coming out, I really thought that the market was just going to stop, just come to a complete standstill.
I did too. We had just opened. I mean, literally opened a new brokerage, bought a new build. Like, you want to talk about like kind of
oh yeah,
a little bit
shaky.
unqueasy. Yeah, I was like, we're gonna have a big problem if we don't sell some houses.
Yeah.
So
some of my buyers didn't want to walk into the homes, and of course that's where we had to get a little creative. Okay, you know what? You stay home, you stay safe. I'm gonna mask up.
Yep.
Mask up, sanitize.
Going in
everything.
at a full level B with the SCBA on.
And
Like,
so and so I had to do FaceTime. I had to record. I was recording videos, putting it on YouTube, so that way they can access it. You know, because they didn't have iPhones. So another way around that.
Problem solvers.
But they found their home through one of those videos,
That's
and
awesome.
they couldn't believe it.
Nice.
They couldn't believe it. They thought that they were going to have to stop and just wait entirely for another year to go and find their home, but they did. And I had another one out of state. That's just what we had to rely on. Just selling sight unseen.
Yeah.
Never stepping foot in the property, putting a contract. Yikes.
It's a scary sound. It sounds like it's a scary deal to me. I mean, but like I said, we adapt and we just try to figure out things. I've done a couple where I took my 3D camera and just took some 360 photos inside. Not with the one that I've got now. I've just got that new one, and it took me a little bit to figure it all out. I had some technical difficulties here and there, but yeah, it will take like some really good photos. But doing the video thing works really well, So that's a big thing. I had some California people that were in California, and they were like, "Hey, we like this house, but we don't want to fly there just to see it. Can you go do a video?" I'm like, "Heck yeah, I'll go do a video." Okay.
You can get the neighborhood.
Yeah,
Sometimes I'll do the drive into the neighborhood, so that way they can really feel like they get the full experience.
Absolutely.
Anything to make it easier for them, or for them to feel comfortable with the purchase, because with the pictures you only see pictures of the house. You don't see your neighbors. You don't see what's across the street. You don't see down the street. You know.
That's a very, very good point you bring up, because I just a couple of days ago I had a client who put an offer on a house. They fell in love with the house. It was great. Offer was accepted. They go into the option period. Day 2 they cancel. Into the option period, they canceled because they drove through the neighborhood afterwards. After their offer was accepted, they drove through the neighborhood at different hours of the day, and they realized, this is just not a right fit. Not to put down any neighborhood, it's just not a right fit for us.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of any crazy what do they call it?
Demographics. Or
It wasn't. Yeah, it was just for them. They
probably
just didn't
a lot of cars in the streets in the evenings. And you can't park
Actually, that's what they said. It was too crowded.
Yeah.
So
I don't like that. I mean, I don't like when you drive into a neighborhood and there's like you can't even pull into people's driveways hardly because the cars are parked on the street so much, and then the houses are. My personal preference. I just don't like it.
Well, it becomes a hazard whenever you're trying to pull out of a driveway. You cannot see.
Somebody's
You can't see a car flying by. You can't see a kid. If a kid comes out from behind a truck that's blocking your view, it's not okay.
Yeah, I think sometimes the buyers get so enamored by the home and the beauty and the features and everything, and they fail that. So you bringing up that point, I think, is important, that we as realtors say, hey, whenever you have time, just run through the neighborhood. Even today, if you like it, okay, I'll go do the paperwork. You guys take some time to run through the neighborhood, or come back later and run through it again and see what you think, to make sure that they're comfortable, because they're making a big purchase. They're going to probably raise their family there, or maybe they're going to retire there, whatever. And they need to know that they're comfortable there long term.
Absolutely. Heck yeah, man. Well, I'm really glad that we were able to get this knocked out. I mean, we're already up on the 30-minute mark already.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it lasts that long, but I've done episodes where I was telling Mark earlier, like over an hour easy. Yeah. Hour and 20 minutes, something like that. So but you just get to rapping about whatever. So
you rap?
A different type of rap. A healthy
At
rap.
this point, I would believe it, actually.
Yeah,
I'd believe it, Steven.
She trips out when I play like some of the music on my Facebook stories because it's all like hardcore rap.
I know. Who are you?
I'm just a little white boy from Mississippi. But I tell you what, when I grew up, I used to have a truck. I had a crazy sound system, and I like hip hop.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
I like it.
But
I like it on TikTok.
Yeah, there's a lot like trending, all of the trending ones on there. But
I like hip hop on TikTok, and I like it for whenever I run.
Yeah.
You know, it just really, I don't know, it gets me into this different.
it's all in the beat, you know. It's
yeah.
an upbeat beat. So I want to let everybody know that's out there. I'm not going to be selfish with this episode. It's not just all about the San Antonio Realty Pros.
Welcome to the Steven Show.
Yeah. So, Ashley, if you would just tell everybody like a little bit about you and how to get a hold of you, where they can find you at, and all that type of stuff.
All right, my name is Ashley Nicole Pena from Corpus Christi, Texas. I live here in San Antonio. I've been here for the past 10 years?
Long
9
time.
years, yeah. I've made San Antonio my home. I love it. It actually feels very homey. It reminds me of Corpus, except the wind and hurricanes.
Yeah.
Heat.
And, the heat.
It's just a short drive back home.
Yeah.
No, a short drive back home. I work for EXP Realty. I used to be a teacher. I've taken a lot of those traits and brought them with me into real estate. I like to take very good care of my clients, making sure that I'm addressing their needs, their concerns. I get protective of my clients. I really do want to make sure that I'm protecting them from anything that can go wrong. And if something does, always trying to problem solve, always trying to find the next solution to make sure that, yes, while there is a problem at our hands, what can we do to address it? What can we do to fix it? What can we do to get past it? What else? I'm with EXP Realty. I used to be with another brokerage. Recently came over to EXP, joined Mark. We help each other out.
Yeah.
What else? What else do you want to know? My favorite color is blue.
That's good. That's good enough. What about you, Mark?
I am originally from Harlingen, down the Rio Grande Valley.
It's hotter there.
It is hotter there.
And dry.
I've been here about 14 years in San Antonio, 15 years now. I've got 2 boys, 2 teenagers, one in high school and one is a sophomore in Texas A&M College Station. Been married to Lisa for 23 years. We just celebrated 23 years. Military Air Force veteran, served out in Europe, and I truly enjoy helping military veterans, first responders. I don't know. I guess it's just a camaraderie type thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, I help everybody, but it's just especially cool for me to be able to see, like, for example, I had a family call me from Germany. I don't even know how they found me, but a family that was stationed in Germany, like, okay, we're getting stationed in San Antonio. Can you help us? Absolutely. That was one of those video deals. So,
do you have your MRP designation?
No, I don't.
Oh, so no. I was going to say that might be how they found you sometimes when you listed like that.
No, I don't. But, regardless, it doesn't matter. I've worked with all kinds of people, and both buyers and sellers and investors, and it's just, I really enjoy it. I've been an entrepreneur almost all my adult life. After the military, I had an advertising marketing company for about 10 years. I've done investing on my own, real estate investing, and so I just figured, you know what, I've got a background in marketing. I've done real estate investing. Why don't I just marry the two and get my license and help other people? So I've been able to help them, obviously, with the classes that we've taken, the education that we've gotten, but as well as my own personal experience in both marketing and real estate investing. So, happy to help anybody that's out there looking for it. But first, call Steven, because this is his show.
No, look, this is the reason why I do this show. Is if there's any other agents out there, like top producers, or they just have a story to tell, like I welcome anybody to come on the show, because this show is all about helping buyers and sellers and property owners get the best they can, the best information possible, as much as I can do. I mean, I'm a small show, but ultimately, I just want to help people out and turn people on to real estate and show them like how important it is. Number one, client-agent relationships are important. Right. Agent-to-agent relationships are important.
Yes.
And knowing, or actually the knowledge is power type thing with a buyer and seller. The more that they know and the more tools that they have in their back pocket, it makes our job easier, but they also understand where we're coming from when we present a solution to a problem.
Correct.
So that they can go, I can get behind that because I can visualize what you're trying to do. Because sometimes they just don't get it. You know, you might come up with like this crazy scenario. They're like, well, why are you doing that? Well, why would we do that? That doesn't make any sense. And they already know what's going on. So, because like I said in the beginning of the show, there's a finish line, and that everything between the start and finish line, I mean, it's like a gauntlet.
Yeah.
And so we just try to navigate. It's like a maze, you know. We just try to navigate it and make sure we know that there's no point A to point B. We know that there's going to be some A point 1, point 2.
A lot of ups and downs, twists and turns.
Amendment number 6.
Yeah, there's so much that goes along with it. And our main job here at the podcast and also as an agent for the Karras Randolph Signature Property Group is to make sure that we fill that gap.
If I can mention one thing regarding realtors, you know, the realtors are a dime a dozen. Everyone knows 6 realtors.
Yeah,
there's
my
just
cousin, my brother.
there are so many realtors out there. But let me just say, because you mentioned a little while ago that 20% of the realtors do 80% of the work. I think that also goes to show that there are a few of the many realtors that are around town, and not just here but across the country. There are a few that really take their job seriously and passionately, like us 3 here in this room. That it's not just, I'm going to help somebody here to do that and, you know, collect a commission check or whatever. But it's really, this is our job. This is our passion. This is what we live for and do. And this is how we feed our families and take care of ourselves and be able to make our dreams come true by helping other people truly and genuinely. So as buyers or sellers, you guys that are out there in the market that are looking out there, yes, you can call, you know, on your cousin or your friend or whatever, but they may or may not be the right fit. Just because it's someone that you know, and this includes my own family and friends, just because it's somebody that you know doesn't always necessarily mean that that's going to be the person that's going to give you the best type of service and is going to be really looking out for you.
Correct.
So I would highly recommend interview 2-3 different
Absolutely.
agents.
Always, look, here's the thing. You don't go and grab a shirt off the rack when you go shopping. Right. Some people might, but it's a very small percentage. You just walk up and grab something. You go shopping, right? Right. There's nothing wrong. When you go car shopping, you go shopping. You go to different brands, different models. Look, there's nothing wrong with that. That's the nature of the beast. You need to do the same thing with your lending. You need to do the same thing with your real estate agents. If you don't already have somebody that you already trust and work with or have done tons of deals with, hey, look, we're not even talking to you. If the shoe fits, wear it type deal. You got to be able to get that fit for you, because at the end of the day, if you just go with the first person that you know or somebody refers them, just meet them. Yeah. Don't decide and sign anything, you know. And there's another thing that you can kind of look at too. A lot of clients, they get really nervous or they don't want to sign any kind of paperwork on the first meeting. But here's a tip. We have a piece of paper, a document that is called a buyer's representation agreement. Let me explain a little bit about what that is and the purpose of it and why it's important to sign it or not to sign it. The buyer's representation agreement binds a client and an agent in a relationship for business, right? So basically what that document does is it shows you that my fiduciary duty is to make sure that I take care of all your needs for a certain time period.
Correct.
Now there's blanks in that. So if an agent says, hey, I want you to sign this buyer representation agreement, and you're a little bit hesitant and you don't really know the agent yet, why don't you propose to them, say, hey, look, I don't mind signing that because I know that that's how you get paid, and make sure that your commission is intact so you don't get messed over by the deal and get left out of because we work for a living, right? So we're not doing this stuff for free, but at the end of the day, that protects our side of the deal. Yeah. As an agent. So why don't you propose as a buyer, say, hey, look, I don't mind signing the representation agreement, but let's just do it for today. We can always extend it. So don't feel like, like if you've got some houses and you call this agent and he's the only one that's answering the phone, but he's not your agent, he's going to want you to sign a buyer's representation agreement, and he rightly should. He should ask you, say, hey, look, if I'm going to show you this house and you want to buy it, I want to be the representation on it because I put in my time. Yeah. And so don't feel bad about, signing it. Just make sure that you can get yourself protected and get it out. Because if you don't like the guy, you meet him and you see the house and you don't like the guy, just make sure that you can ask him, hey, can we just date it for today or maybe 2 days, 48 hours?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. They're blanks. The dates are blanks. So that's just a little something that I would recommend for buyers and for agents. Like, hey, look, that might be an option for an agent to propose to a client that's like a little bit standoffish about signing a buyer's representation agreement. First of all, they need to understand what the document is.
Yeah.
And they need to know that they're not bound legally except for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, and I would say even within that time, let's say it's a 3-month contract.
It's a cancelable deal.
Yeah, it's cancelable.
Yeah.
So if you begin to find out who this person is, and you're realizing, you know what, we're just not a right fit for one another,
Right.
Correct.
cancel it. Send a written notice saying, hey, you know what, thank you for your services. They're no longer needed, and then I'm moving on, and that's it.
Yep.
That cancels that contract. It's over.
Yeah.
And find somebody that's really going to look out for you, for your best interest, take care of you, answer all your questions, give you the time that you deserve to make sure, because you're making a very big purchase, or you're selling a very big asset that you're going to need. It's going to make a difference in your family. So you've got to have that right agent that's going to represent you well.
And agents are able to do the same thing. You know, if they can see it already happening, that y'all aren't a good fit, they may say, no, I don't think we're a good fit. I don't think I'm the agent for you. And they're not going to keep you and hold you to a contract if you're not comfortable with them. Like, what agent is going to?
That's the most awkward thing ever.
Yeah, like, I'm breaking up with you. What? No, you're staying with me. Like, no, I'm still your agent. You signed.
Stalker.
Yeah. No, they're not going to do that. They will let you go if they're, just sensible. They'll let you go.
That's awkward, man. I wouldn't want to be at the closing table with some clients that didn't like me and I didn't like them. I definitely
With a
wouldn't
big
want to
smile.
wouldn't show
Happy
up.
closing day.
But yeah, so I just want to close it out right there and just kind of let, there's a ton of stuff that we could always talk about. And we'll do the show again for sure.
Appreciate the invite, man.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
time
thank
is
you
over.
for having us.
Yeah.
Much success to you and your office and your staff and everything you guys are doing.
Great
Yeah,
office.
we're trying to make some moves. So, but I'm getting kind of hungry right now.
I am too.
Me too.
Where we're going to eat at.
Uh-oh.
We'll figure that out in a minute.
All right.
I want to thank everybody for tuning into the podcast today. I have been Stephen Randolph for the San Antonio Realty Pros podcast. You guys know how to get a hold of me. If you guys ever need anything, just reach out on Facebook at San Antonio Realty Pros, and then shoot us a call.